Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Mike, host of the free iTunes podcast, Psychiatric Secrets Revealed with Dr. Mike, but that's not why I'm here today. This is our Saving Savvy episode, and this is part two of a six-part mini-series on how I lost over 100 pounds without dieting. Now, if you watch part one, you'll hear about my diet history and how I started gaining weight really very early on and have had a terrible time keeping that weight off. This part, we're going to look at one of the things that I did, in this case, something completely unintentional. I did this for other reasons, not to lose weight, and I started the process many years ago. So let me tell you a little bit about myself and how this plays into what I did. So I was raised in a blue collar family and was pretty financially insecure growing up. In fact, I can recall having a single pair of pants through most of my freshman year of high school. That was for everything, for school, for play, for Sundays, for you name it, one pair of pants. So not a lot of money was available. My wife was raised in a white collar family, but she also has financial insecurity, and we kind of expressed that insecurity in different ways. A little more facts about me. Probably about many years ago, we were sitting around the kitchen table, and it was one of those fun little games with my kids and my wife and myself. It was like, what animal would you be if you were reincarnated as an animal? Are you going to be the wise owl or the playful otter, whatever? Well, everyone's agreed that I would be the golden retriever because I'm very steadfast, very loyal. I try to get the job done. I'm pretty much a team player. I'm a dog, basically. So you take financial insecurity, you take my personality characteristics, and you really have a guy who then went to medical school from a blue collar background. You have a guy that works very hard, always tries to strive, that's really trying to do the best job possible. And because of that, I've been in a number of kind of leadership and power positions, medical director of units and that sort of stuff. And one of the things that I did was many years ago, probably 25 years ago now, with two other doctors, we formed a successful group practice, which is still in existence today and still successful. So how does this all play into what I'm about to tell you? Well, even though I'm emotionally stable and not very anxious and don't feel a lot of stress, obviously stress has an impact on me. And I found that that the more I worked, the more I felt that I had to work. I felt that I had to work to make money to be a good provider, right? Because I'm this golden retriever. Now, I don't have breaks on that because of my financial insecurity. My wife didn't want to break me on my money earning because of her financial insecurity. So it was sort of this perfect storm that I was working harder and harder and longer and longer and longer to achieve some unknown goal. Add to that fact this loyalty that I had and the desire to do a good job and to be a good team player. And so in my work in private practice as the owner of a private successful psychiatric practice, I took on all sorts of responsibility that I probably didn't have to take on. So when web pages had to be developed, I learned how to do web design. When brochures needed to be created, not only would I design them, but I learned how to do, how to properly set things up to get them printed and creative forms for notes and when we buy the copying machines and how many new computers do we need and I would fix the computers and you kind of get the idea. It was sort of crazy. Now combine that with the fact about something that I learned just in the last few years in this particular system where I was an owner but just a part owner. This system actually was more rewarding or rewarded more people that were more dependent. I'm a very independent person. So the more I tried to prove my worth in this system, really it kind of backfired on me, which in my mind meant that I had to work harder. So you see this evolving path of working more hours to make money, working harder to get approval in my psychiatric practice with my partners and trying to make sure that my wife feels secure because I didn't want her to feel insecure about money. And it started taking its toll on me. And I knew even many years ago that I had to do something. And even before I truly had this knowledge of what was going on, I told my wife, look, at a certain point in my life, I am going to retire, and that's just the way it is, and we're going to have to cope around that because I can't do this for the rest of my life. Now, later on, I realized these other awarenesses as I process things because I sit down and every 3 or 2 years, I sit down and I think to myself, what do I need to change in my life to make my life better? And I try to make an assessment and I try to make change. So I eventually got this awareness. Now, I was really dealing with a lot of physical complaints, which is the main reason why I wanted to do this. And what happens is when you really stress your body, in many cases, your body gets you back. And in my case, it got me back in autoimmune problems. So I developed autoimmune neuropathies, which I still have. At one point, they thought I had myasthenia gravis, which is a terrible illness, and I was taking all sorts of meds for that. At one point, they thought I had a autoimmune liver disease, like autoimmune hepatitis, because my body was actually attacking my liver, and just on and on and on and on. So I had to reduce stress, and I had to think out of the box. And so logically, what do, right? Logically, I've put all this tremendous energy into forming the psychiatric clinic. I put all this extra energy that other people weren't doing to save money and to learn all these different things. I had to give it up. So believe it or not, one of the things that I did, thinking outside of the box, is I gave up my partnership. Now, I met with the two original partners. We now have a bunch of partners, but I met with the two original partners for 18 months before I did that. On a monthly basis, we'd go out to breakfast. We met with our spouses. We did everything. And, probably about 2 years ago plus now, I actually left my partnership and I went from being a senior founding partner in the successful clinic to a contract worker. Now, I know you probably think that this was the most insane thing to do because financially it was crazy, status-wise it was crazy, on all levels it was crazy, right? But it was the best thing that I could ever do because then that freed me as a golden retriever of the guilt of not constantly working there and looking at other options. And I believe in higher power intervention stuff. You may have a belief in a higher power or not, but I personally do. I've seen that influence in my life many times. And in my particular case, miracles started happening. So as I freed myself of the burden of having to shore up this private practice, all of a sudden my part-time job came back to me and they said, you know what, we really want you to work more for us. And it was a little bit of a distance to drive to this job. And so they said to me, we will put in your house a pro-level video conferencing center, basically. And 2 days a week, you'll be able to see patients from your home through this video link. Unbelievable. So I went from incredible stress to not having to worry so much about being all things to all people. And they didn't want me to do it anyways at the clinic, to opening up my schedule, to actually having 2 days a week where I didn't have to commute. I could have lunch upstairs. I could get little stuff done if that was possible. It was a wonderful thing. And because I thought outside of the box, I was able to make that bridge, make that jump, and it started to impact my health. I reduced my stress. A lot of the autoimmune stuff quieted down. I have some permanent damage. It's just the way it's going to be with these neuropathies. I can't help that. That's the way it is. But I started to think more clearly. I started to sleep better because I was less stressed. And I was able to move on to the next stages of this weight loss. Again, none of this was done for weight loss. It was all done for physical health. But what I want you guys to remember is that our brains and bodies and our weight loss and our general well-being, they're all connected. And that's why going on some crazy diet plan or taking some goofy supplement or whatever, or even taking a prescription grade weight loss pill, that's why these things really don't work, right? They don't work because they're a one trick pony. And when it comes to weight gain and all these other things, they are all interrelated to other things, and we have to approach it. So that's what I did, part 2 out of 3. You're going to have to wait to hear what I did in part 3 out of 3, the next things that I did to lose over 100 pounds without dieting. And I would ask you to maybe look at your lives and think to yourself, are there things that I need to change? I'm not asking you to do crazy, goofy things like maybe I did, but my crazy, goofy thing was the best thing I ever did. But maybe to think outside the box a little bit and to really think, what do I have to do to make my life better? We so often feel like we are powerless over making change in our life. We so often think that we can't make change for whatever reason. I'm telling you, I gave up a successful partnership. I gave up financial incentives. I completely rewrote my history of after investing 25 years into a particular plan. Best thing I ever did. Take care, everyone. If you get some time, please give my podcast a listen. If you want to know more about me, read my experimental writing blog, drmikekuna.com, drmikekuna.com. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you like my channel, please subscribe. I want more subscribers. Someday I'll have more. And the reason, it's a very diverse channel. This is just my outlet. There's a lot of information on photography, which is my passion, but there's a lot of other stuff on it too. So take care, everyone. Bye-bye.